In the year 2011, during the Iraq War, as the conflict draws to a close, small regions still face ongoing conflicts. Taking his team, Gabriel attacks local armed groups after a sniper takes out 2 people in a row. A tank enters the field. Soldier Leah notices something unusual and instructs Sniper David to come quickly. He quickly gathers with his teammates, but when they enter the house, they discover that fellow Paul has already killed all the captives. At that moment, the enemy's RPG flies toward them. Captain Gabriel instructs the others to take care of the wounded and goes to investigate on his own. Suddenly, he senses the presence of death. The enemy sniper has him in his sights. When he wakes up after being hit, he discovers it was a dream. However, the bullet wounds from years ago are real. He hears someone calling his name. Gabriel finds that there is a man in his house, casually sitting at the table and holding a wine glass. Gabriel warns him that it is trespassing. The man introduces himself as Balthazar, showing no fear of David's threats, and after laughing, he tells Gabriel that his number has been drawn. In other words, he has been recruited. Gabriel quickly denies, stating that he has already been honorably discharged and questions what the man is saying. The man responds that he is not talking about serving his country but rather serving humanity. Gabriel does not want to hear the madman speaking, but just as he is about to push the man away, he has already disappeared. The next day, in Los Angeles, Gabriel prepares for work when a girl invites him to play, but Gabriel declines. On the other side, inside an underground illegal boxing arena, a fight is taking place. 2 muscular men are fiercely fighting. The tattooed man takes the opportunity and knocks down his opponent, securing another victory. At that moment, another challenger presents himself, but he appears much older. His name is Marcus. The previously tattooed man takes several slaps, only then realizing that his opponent is not an ordinary person. He takes the fight seriously, and after a few blows, he grabs Marcus, but the latter escapes with a headbutt. Then Marcus wins the fight by delivering a blow to the opponent's head, knocking him unconscious, and thus winning the betting money. At that moment, a man in a suit approaches the door and asks Marcus if he wants to play another round, saying he won't let Marcus punch him. After speaking, he displays his proposal, holding a bag of gold bars, but states that if Marcus loses, he will take his soul. The 2 do not believe his words, feeling that the gold is already in their hands. After all, the man seems very weak. Marcus takes the initiative to attack, but the other is exceptionally agile. So, he dodges Marcus's punch, and black veins start to appear on the fighter's body, and he experiences a memory that shows several men taking police officers from a transport vehicle hostage to steal some bags of money. One person removes his mask, revealing himself to be Marcus. He initially shoots one person, then forces the other 2 to turn around, making them open their eyes, and cruelly kills them. After the memory, Marcus realizes that his soul has left his body, and the bag of gold has also turned to stone. Meanwhile, Gabriel is still fixing a car when suddenly a voice sounds in his ears, instructing Gabriel to find them quickly, and a cross-shaped necklace appears inside the car. He sits to inspect it. In the next moment, Balthazar appears again. Gabriel is startled, but this also proves that that night was not his imagination or a dream. Balthazar mentions several of Gabriel's colleagues, even knowing their names and ranks. He is very knowledgeable about Gabriel's life experiences. Gabriel suffers from severe post-traumatic stress disorder after the war and has begun to doubt his faith. Balthazar jokes, explaining that he is a messenger of God. He tells Gabriel that he has been chosen by God to defend the earth, to fight against Archangel Michael and his army of demons, claiming that he has rebelled and now wants to destroy humanity. Gabriel does not understand why he was chosen. Balthazar explains that he is imprisoned by the past and that perhaps God has sent him to help Gabriel find inner peace. He also reveals that now the gates of hell are closed for lost souls, keeping them trapped on earth for Michael to use in building an army of hell. If Gabriel can defeat them, then the gates of hell might be opened, sending the lost souls back, but if he fails, humanity will come to an end. Balthazar instructs him to bring his team to find the warrior of peace and then disappears instantly. When Gabriel returns home after work, he finds a girl crying. He discovers that she broke a teacup and her father became very angry. After comforting her, the girl still tries to fix her toy, but this situation makes him very sad. That night, he looks at the words on the bottle and falls into deep reflection. Meanwhile, the psychopathic killer Roman prepares to dismember yet another victim to add to his cursed collection. At that moment, Marcus appears. He admires the man's work, calling him the Picasso of butchers. He then invites him to join the army of the undead and advances toward him step by step. Roman is forced to launch an attack and is contained by Marcus in a single movement. Then, black veins spread over him as he enters a memory. He is behind a young girl, using a mask to hide his face. Upon regaining consciousness, he also finds his soul outside his body, leaving the girl in imminent danger. The next day, David is on the other side of the iron gate, staring at the fierce dog in front of him, unwilling to enter the residence to work. His colleague warns him to stop wasting time and come in, or he will face dismissal. After reflecting, David still refuses, and his colleague ignores him and returns to the car. David is about to leave when he encounters Gabriel. After many years, the comrades reunite, and they both have much to say to each other. After David's brother died, Gabriel became like family to him. Gabriel saved him on the battlefield, and upon learning of the situation, he decides to join the team with his friend. Then Gabriel finds his colleague, Leah, and extends an invitation. Leah is willing to join the fight, but her son is seriously ill. It is a strange illness that even medicine cannot explain, so Leah needs to prioritize her family. Gabriel understands and moves on to the next person. He meets Paul, a strong boxer, but as he gets distracted, he is defeated by his opponent. Then he and Gabriel have a private conversation backstage. Originally, Paul worked in a prison after retiring, but his old illness resurfaced and he ended up being fired, so he decided to earn more money and chose to become a boxer. Gabriel speaks to him about the purpose of their mission, and Paul decides to join the team. That night, Leah bathes with a heavy heart. Submerging herself in the water, she sees someone delivering a mysterious liquid bottle to her son and immediately emerges from the water. The next day, the three-person team arrives in Georgia, with Leah also joining to support. After some hugs, she explains the reason for her rushed arrival. The group heads to their destination, but Gabriel notices three very suspicious men who suddenly disappear along the way. At the spot where the group is preparing, Leah submerges herself in the water again, and this time, she sees a pile of mysterious symbols, all saying Lila, along with pink angel symbols. Following that, she begins to search for the name, but finds no place called Lila. Gabriel suspects that perhaps the symbol is not complete, but is sure that this name is significant. As for the symbol of the mysterious angel, the group speculates that its nudity may suggest some form of sacrilege. At that moment, Gabriel lifts a tabletop stand and compares it with the symbol, discovering it is a letter in Georgian. After searching, he finds that the symbol represents the letter D. Thinking a little, Leah says that the combined information leads to a place where the man they are looking for may appear. The group arrives at a nightclub called Delilah and splits up to search for the target individual. Before departing, Gabriel reminds David not to trust anyone, including the prostitutes. David ignores the advice and sits in front of a stripper, while Paul goes to the bar for drinks. While Gabriel is searching, he sees the mysterious man again. The man turns and runs, but Gabriel quickly catches up to him. He loses the man's trail, but in the next moment, the mysterious man appears behind him. The man successfully ambushes Gabriel while Leah is accosted by a stranger. Paul is still waiting for his drink while David begins to tip the stripper. Gabriel and the strange man initiate a fight, but shortly after some blows, Gabriel gains the advantage. He uses his arm to hold the man's head and interrogates him about his identity. The man simply says that he is an angelic agent. The rest of the team also encounters obstacles and finds themselves in combat. Paul was using one bottle after another, Leah demonstrated exceptional skills, and David was somewhat clumsy. Suddenly, another team appeared and beat those individuals. However, upset, they claimed that Leah and the others interrupted their operation, as they had meticulously planned a trap for someone, but due to Leah and the others' interference, that person had already escaped. Leah explained that they were warriors of peace. After a detailed discussion, Leah introduced herself as a prophet, and everyone was surprised by the power being sent from heaven, recognizing Leah as the chosen one. The reasons why they became warriors of peace varied. Among them were police officer Jack, priest Will, while Farouk was originally an atheist who later joined as a technician. Gabriel also introduced himself and said he had served 10 years in Iraq, but he mentioned that a mysterious man named Balthazar told them they needed to save the world from an angel named Michael. Priest Will mentioned the term Archangel and that the person they apprehended was one of Michael's dark warriors. Farouk emphasized that they would only follow orders from above and not human prophecies, so they had no intention of collaborating with the others. That night, Leah received an email. After reading it, she found her companions and said that someone could help them. The group arrived at a building where they met the sender of the email, named Dabby. After presenting some weapons and the deadly power she developed with them, she then hands a climbing hook to Sniper David, while Paul receives a powerful pistol. Leah is given a vial of mysterious liquid and a bow and arrow, while Gabriel receives a sharp dagger left specifically for him. David tried to flirt with Dabby, but was threatened and quickly backed off and left. Gabriel arrived at a church where several huge statues were present. Then Balthazar appeared and introduced him to a statue named Diana. Years ago, Balthazar faced several monsters with a dagger, fighting against 3 at the same time without falling behind, but in the next moment, it was Gabriel holding the dagger. Back in the church, Gabriel informed Balthazar that the warriors of peace were reluctant to help and questioned how they would find Michael. But Balthazar took on the role of master of divination. He told Gabriel that demons have no souls, so they cannot hear music and must rely on verbal language. Gabriel asked what the meaning of that statement was, but Balthazar refused, insisting that he must discover it for himself. On the other side, the lights in Dabby's arsenal suddenly went out. She grabbed a custom-made telescope but found nothing unusual. Unexpectedly, a monster was hiding behind her. Dabby tried to grab her dagger to retaliate but was knocked down. She kicked the monster, grabbed her weapon, and cut off its head. Meanwhile, the man in the suit, Michael, aimed at another human. He issued a recruitment invitation but was rejected by the crime boss. With no other choice, Michael communicated with the group in a hostile manner, forcing them to surrender. Meanwhile, Gabriel led the group to the local library, soon splitting up to research. Leah went to the second floor while Gabriel entered a room full of cabinets. Having explored without finding anything, Leah returned to the first floor and joined David and Gabriel. They noticed black dust on the floor, realizing that these monsters were transformed humans. The 4, armed with special weapons, attacked but could not injure the creatures, putting them in a dangerous situation. At a critical moment, the warriors of peace joined the battle in time and easily eliminated the monsters. It was revealed that after Dabby had been attacked by demons, she informed the others about it. Michael's demonic army was approaching, leading the warriors of peace to change their minds and decide to collaborate with the group. Gabriel suggested that the demons were repeating the phrase "soft father" before they died. Priest will mention the existence of an ancient cave city where that phrase translated from the local language. After receiving the clue, they immediately headed to the base of the mountain and then climbed. After a long walk, they arrived at the target city. However, a fork appeared ahead, so the 7 divided into 2 teams, each exploring a different path. Gabriel led his team into a cave, and it wasn't long before each group encountered monstrous creatures. Leah fired the first arrow but failed to penetrate the monster's armor. The same occurred with David's climbing hook, further irritating the creature. The monster swung its tail at him, but soon police officer Jack used a knife to cut off the tail. The monster continued to spew black dust from its mouth. David seized the opportunity to shove his climbing hook into the monster's mouth, finally killing it. On Gabriel's side, Priest led, aiming at the monster's claw, but was scratched in the chest in return. Fortunately, Gabriel took the opportunity, stabbing the dagger into the monster's head, causing it to hesitate to fight more, making it flee immediately. They then brought the injured priest back, and medic Leah treated his wounds. Paul did not want to get further involved in the situation and quickly left. Gabriel found Dabby with the dagger and asked her how to use the weapon. To his surprise, when she drew it, flames ignited the blade. She passed the dagger back to Gabriel and advised him to seek the priest, as she could not help regarding it, but the priest could. In another room, David approached Jack to learn some skills with knives, but Jack refused. Jack explained that he needed to go to the orphanage to teach the Bible and help in the kitchen because he was also an orphan. David then suggested going with him. After completing their tasks, they encountered a mysterious man. Jack immediately ran after him, but the other was prepared. The biker gang advanced and separated the 2 individuals. Jack took the narrow path and managed to knock down the biker. But before he could question him, the individual died. Meanwhile, Gabriel was practicing in front of the mirror but couldn't produce flames no matter how hard he tried. At that moment, Will approached him, and Gabriel asked him how to unleash the power of the dagger. Will said it was a matter of faith and strength. If Gabriel could reach absolute trust, the sword would guide him back. Farouk found the 2 and said they discovered anomalies in the Rosinsky forest, so the group immediately headed to the location. Suddenly, something quickly passes between the trees, and Gabriel stopped everyone immediately. Suddenly, several monsters emerged and surrounded them, but after a whistle sounded, the monsters disappeared instantly. Then Paul raised his hands and appeared there. He explained that he discovered a demon and followed it into the forest, where he saw Michael. Gabriel stopped Farouk, trusting his longtime friend of 10 years and opting to believe him. The group continued, passing by a church where the priest acted very solemnly. After a crisis of faith, Will said that faith is always something worth seeking. At night, the group arrived at a majestic palace with reliefs depicting the scene of Jesus' crucifixion. Gabriel noticed Paul's strange behavior, who then told Gabriel that he knew he was there. Behind the columns, several demons emerged. It turned out that Michael was actually disguised as Paul. He politely introduced himself as the Archangel they had been searching for. He had been right under Gabriel's nose in the form of Paul, who was killed while practicing target shooting. Michael retreated while the army of the dead attacked, but his strength was not as intimidating as it seemed, being easily taken down by all. Will faced the mysterious figure as the battle was balanced. However, the priest was careless for a moment and was stabbed in the abdomen. Gabriel ran to check on the priest, who then passed him the crucifix necklace before falling silent. Gabriel closed his eyes and felt as if he had entered hell. Balthazar appeared by his side, and the scene before them showed what the earth would look like after Michael's success. Gabriel had always wondered why God chose him. Balthazar instructed him to close his eyes, and he found himself back on the battlefield in Iraq. Gabriel discovered a girl, which led him to lower his weapon, but he became the target of an enemy sniper. After the memory, Balthazar said that in that moment he lost faith and direction, but God never abandoned him. After saying these words, Balthazar departed. Gabriel closed his eyes one more time, and when he opened them, his gaze fixed on Michael. Gabriel drew his weapon and pursued him, reaching the center of a circle of statues. Michael told him that he once knew a warrior named Gabriel who was as self-righteous as he was. Meanwhile, a continuous flow of monsters put his companions in danger as Michael tried to convince Gabriel to join his side, warning that otherwise, they would all perish with humanity. Gabriel drew his dagger to show his determination, but Michael still underestimated him, and the reality was that Gabriel was no match for him, continuously being pushed down until he fell to the ground. Gabriel closed his eyes, envisioning images of a church and Jesus in his mind. He chose to trust completely, rebuilding his fallen faith, causing the candle's flame to reignite entirely. Gabriel opened his eyes and took the dagger. Michael was very surprised when Gabriel, possessing the flaming blade, attacked him again. Without hesitation, Gabriel stabbed his enemy with the knife. At that moment, the mysterious man who had been watching the spectacle for some time suddenly abandoned Michael and hurriedly fled. Then Lucifer, the Lord of Hell, appeared. Michael's successive failures enraged Lucifer. God's angel, Balthazar, also appeared, finally before all eyes. Michael turned to dust. Lucifer left with harsh words, saying he would return, and then vanished along with the army of the dead, finally resolving the crisis of destruction of the earth. The film ends with Gabriel returning to his companions, now realizing he had truly been dead all along, and simply was not willing to believe it. As he bids farewell to them, Gabriel walks out into the sunlight and then transforms into dust, disappearing into the air.